So from our investors that are listening, this kind of hits all the key hot areas right now. You've got point of care, you've got a lab on a chip, and you've got the digital conductivity, the digital healthcare play of it as well. So we're really combining three major components into one, what will eventually be a class 2 medical device. That'll be a diagnostic for chronic kidney disease.
G'day there, Midas Letter subscribers, viewers, traders, and investors. My guest right now is David Barthel. He's the CEO of Health Logic Interactive, trading on the OTC under the symbol CHYPF, and in Toronto under the symbol CHIP.H. David, welcome.
Happy to be here, James. Thank you.
David, let's start with the required overview. What is the business of Health Logic Interactive?
We are an early stage development and commercialization company focused on specifically chronic kidney disease, but more importantly, developing a point of care lab on chip digital diagnostic for screening and diagnosing chronic kidney disease. And why is that so critical? Number one, chronic kidney disease is a rapidly progressive disease that historically has been difficult to diagnose and treat. The current diagnostic tests are laboratory tests where you have to go to the laboratory, take a test, you have to wait, sometimes you have to go back. Often the test is inaccurate, it's costly, and does not provide a quantitative measurement for you. So we are providing a point of care, but more importantly, it's really a lab on a chip. So it's very interesting technology. This is disruptive, dynamic, innovative technology. And think about a credit card, James, that you can take biomarker measurements on. Right. It's the size of a credit card, and you would then be able to measure biomarkers on the chip. You would then place the chip into a handheld device that takes measurements, and then the device would then take the measurements and then move the data to your smartphone, to an app on your smartphone. So from our investors that are listening, this kind of hits all the key hot areas right now. You've got point of care, you've got a lab on a chip, and you've got the digital conductivity, the digital healthcare play of it as well. So we're really combining three major components into one, what will eventually be a class 2 medical device. That'll be a diagnostic for chronic kidney disease.
Okay, so the obvious benefit to humanity is that people suffering from chronic kidney disease are going to have the equivalent of 24/7 monitoring of vital signs to let the patient know if they need to increase medication, do anything else to keep themselves in good shape.
Yeah, basically what it does is it bridges a very wide screening gap, because historically it's difficult, and because of COVID-19, which has really escalated the need for point of care technology, point of care diagnostics, is that it's difficult for people, especially in rural communities, or even, think globally, think about other countries, that it's difficult for them to get to a lab. So wouldn't it be great if we could do true point of care, which is, translated for us is really having the patient at home with the ability to collect and manage their data. So we're going to bridge the screening gap, number one. Number two, we're going to bring the lab to the home. So that's really the value proposition of this, is that we're going to bring the lab to the home to provide earlier diagnosis, which leads to earlier therapy. So that's a very, very important value proposition for people that suffer from chronic kidney disease, because they don't get diagnosed. 90% of the people that have the symptoms don't know they have the disease. So you have this unaddressable, unmet market, and we want to get to those people.
Sure. So I'd imagine this would be of great interest to the medical insurance industry in North America, in that it obviously is going to be a cheaper approach to diagnostics and care.
Low cost, accessibility, okay, and a quantitative measurement, which means precision, which means accuracy. Lab tests are often colorimetric dipsticks, which just give you a range. This will give you an actual value. So when you think about risk analysis, risk prediction, risk management, we're going to be able to do that. We'll be able to show some trend analysis and some historical figures as well, all on an app on your smartphone.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then how soon until this is actually available?
Good question. So because we're early stage, and because it is a medical device, as you know, we have to get Health Canada approval. We need to get CE in Europe, but more importantly, we need to get FDA approval in the US. So our time frame is that we're planning on having a pre-submission meeting with the FDA in September. We'll do some human factor testing towards the end of this year, beginning of next year. We'll start a clinical trial in January. Hope to submit, several months later. And our goal is to get FDA approval towards Q4 of next year, 2022. And that's the first device. This is a platform technology. So we're going to be looking at measuring specific biomarkers. We're looking at 2 specific biomarkers for what we call Matlock-1, which will be albumin and the creatinine ratio, which are important for screening. Those are the standard biomarkers for screening for CKD. And then the following year, we'll come out with a product called Matlock-2, which will be a fully integrated diagnostic for not only albumin and creatinine in urine, but we'll add blood-based GFR. So those are the things that we're going to be doing. Very specific biomarkers that give you the complete detailed package for diagnosing chronic kidney disease.
Sure. How much is it going to cost you to get through through to the FDA end zone? Have you got the capital on hand to do that, or are you going to need to raise some more funds?
We've got capital. We're going to need to raise more funds. And, with an early stage company, someone who asked me once, well, how often do you raise capital? I said, I raise it every day. Right. Because you really do. And you base it on milestones, and you base it on your business plan and the leadership team. That we've got an excellent team in place. So we're in the process of raising capital, and it takes, it'll take $1 million, to do everything that we want to do, at least to get to that point. There's other things that we want to do because it's a platform technology. We're developing a digital marketing strategy. There's a number. We've got about 11 different initiatives, James, going on at one time.
Right. And this is not your first rodeo when it comes to smart technology applied to healthcare, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not. I did a product called Smart Pill, which was a disruptive, innovative, ingestible capsule that took sensor measurements throughout the GI tract, and it took a while to get that through the approval, but we did it all the way through clinical trials, FDA approval. Even we're able to get a reimbursement code in the U.S., and then we sold the business to Medtronic. So we did everything you need to do to develop a medical device. So this one, I'm even more excited because I think the need is greater, and it really is a global need because the population is diverse. 45% of CKD patients are diabetics, but more importantly, it's a diverse global problem. And we believe that we have a global solution for it.
Sure. Is the idea then to develop this technology that might ultimately be acquired by a large medical devices firm like Medtronic?
It could be. It could be. You never manage to sell it. You manage it for growth. So if you do the opposite, you get way ahead of yourself. So we're following a very disciplined process, a very targeted focus on what we want to accomplish. We've been approached about looking at other biomarkers, but right now we're very focused on getting CKD done, completing this. After we get this finished, we're successful, we'll start to look at other biomarkers. And the key here to mention to your audience, specifically in Canada, is that this is a Canadian technology originating out of the University of Manitoba. And there's tremendous technology being developed not only out of the University of Manitoba in Winnipeg, but in Canada itself. So we've got a great partner at the University of Manitoba, and the lab on the chip is a patented technology that was developed out of there. So my goal as CEO is to put all the pieces together. We've got a real strong team. We've got a great CMO, a great CFO. I've got a great clinical team. So we're putting all the pieces together, and I'm a firm believer in utilizing strategic partners and eventually having multiple revenue channels.
Sure. Are there any existing lab on a chip sort of applications that are in use today?
There are, not specifically for chronic kidney disease and not using microfluidic technology, which is we're doing. We've got some proprietary things that we're doing differently. So there's nothing on the market like this lab on the chip. There's nothing that measures these biomarkers that we're doing. There's nothing that's utilizing a lab on chip to diagnose chronic kidney disease. So we'll be the first, what they call the first market mover.
Okay. And is there a lot of IP around this technology?
Yes, a lot of IP. We're developing a lot of IP. We've got a lot of IP being developed around it. So we'll have a strong fence, if you will, around not only the initial product, but the products going forward.
Right. All right, David, well, that's a great introduction. We're going to follow the story with extreme interest. Thanks very much for your time today.
Happy, James. Happy to do it. Excited.
Bye for now.